Alright, this is Roger, Mucosal University. Alex, I got information. You probably have looked this up yourself. I know you're a very knowledgeable person, but I'm going to try to explain it in my words. They are saying, what is the pancreas? First of all, well, your pancreas is where you make potent digestive enzymes. Those are very powerful chemistry. And hormones that help manage blood glucose, sugar. These are all the things that I've just been talking about. Normally these enzymes, hormones, do not become active until they exit the pancreas and enter other parts of the body. And the reason is because you have mucous membranes in there that protect you from these things. If you have problems with your mucous membranes, and all this type of cancer that you have appears to be related to mucous membranes in these different glands. Now, they exit the pancreas and enter into our other parts of the body. Well, I think yours might be attacking your body inside the pancreas. Your pancreas also produces bicarbonates, another aggressive molecule that neutralize stomach acids. You know, if it's there or not there, that's either way. It could be too much or it could be not enough. That could be a problem. Small ducts and tubes move these fluids into larger pancreatic ducts. These are all through sheaths and tubing that has to be coated to not be attacked by these things. And then down into the duodenum, right down into your intestinal area where all kinds of acid activities are going on and breakdowns are happening. The common bile duct carries bile. I mean, that's kind of nasty stuff. Substance that breaks down fats from your liver and gallbladder through the head of the pancreas into your small intestine. That is a toxic waste dump. You know, that you've got a problem with your mucous membranes. I'm almost sure, because everything that I'm seeing looks like the protective coatings are dissolving or allowing something to attack that shouldn't. Because I'm going to show you why I can say that, because of reflux, you know, that stomach reflux thing. Hold on a second. All right, here's another problem with it's a gastrointestinal reflux. So it says, what is this? What's the problem here? You have acids that back up into your esophagus, and that causes chronic inflammation and irritation to the esophagus. Well, guess what? It doesn't do it to everybody. Let's see, here's some research on this. It says right here, we well know from other parts of the alimentary tract, mucosal integrity depends upon the balance between aggressive factors and protective mechanisms. We propose that this also holds true within the esophageal compartment, your throat. By aggressive factors, now listen to this carefully, we mean abnormal esophageal exposure to acids, things like that, as demonstrated by a test they did, 24-hour pH monitoring study. Approximately 40% of patients with symptomatic acid reflux with abnormal acid exposure time, they don't develop this problem because their mucus is working good. The balance distributed by excessive aggression of gastro reflux in these subjects is presumably restored by stronger than normal mucosal protective mechanisms. Right? That's maybe not stronger than normal, maybe just normal, and everybody else is less than normal. Effectively counteracting abnormal reflux. Well, maybe it's not abnormal reflux. Maybe it's normal reflux, but people can't react to it normally anymore. So the reflux esophagitis is likely to develop in those in whom the excessive reflux cannot be compensated for by otherwise normal protective mechanisms. You're not being protected from with these mucos, and these mucos are in every single part of your body because they have to be separated from everything else, and that is the protective slime. It says you stay on that side and everything else stays on this side. Well, when it breaks down, that nasty stuff gets through and it causes damage. And I think that is the issue with a lot of disease, because I can see it in the mineralization and the invasion. Okay, what I'm saying is that everything in your body has to be separated from everything else. You have salts, acids, all kinds of chemistry that attacks other chemistry, and it has to be separated. That's the job of fascia and all of these synovial sheaths and coatings and mucous membranes. They separate everything from everything else. Says, you stay your side, I'll stay my side, and then we don't interact. But if you start breaking down, we are going to start having interactions of chemistry, and you are going to dissolve my molecules. You're going to kill me. Here's what happens. In your body, I'm just going to tell you the little quick details because most people don't want the whole 9 yards, but there's a lot of yards, I'm telling you. Now, irregular cellular clusters are found inside the exocrine tissue of the pancreas, which secretes the pancreatic juices for the digestion of fats. That is serious. That's serious chemistry. They're secreting those juices. Now, down here further it goes down. There's alpha particles, alpha cells. They secrete glucagon, a protein, insulin. I have a hard time with these words. I'm telling you. Let me just tell you something. It secretes enzymes. Let's just go with that. Now, and enzymes, what do enzymes do? Enzymes are chemistry kits. They are literally chemistry kits. And the enzymes do a job of breaking down their catalysts. They break down molecules into tiny, 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 tiny bits. And that's the only way your body can deal with them. And those tiny, 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 all those tiny bits end up attaching to transition metal complexes with what's called a ligand, which is a single electron attachment, and it carries it down and drops it off by changing pH in a most insignificant way, but it is enough to tempt that molecule to leave its transition metal complex and associate to whoever wants it more via pH. That's how carboxylation works, and that is how all carbonic acids in your body go through your lungs and so forth, and you breathe out, they turn into carbonic gases. There is a whole enormous ballet going on in this, and it's all predicated on everything staying away from everybody else. And these things are breaking down. That's what I believe. Almost every problem is a cause of this kind of a thing, concentrations or not having the correct. Let's put it this way: you either have too much or too little of something. And I'm going to tell you, we can find out with a database, and it's not being done. And here, the database has to consider transition metals. The transition metals are the things in your body that move the things in your body to deliver to the things in your body that want those things. And I'm going to show you, because I can prove this. There's no guesses here. Zero guesses here. Zero, Alex. I'm telling you, my friend, get a hold of me. We need to do something about this because it's being overlooked. Now, you've got a problem here. This makes enzymes. These little things make enzymes. Enzymes are chemistry kits. Now, what else do you have? You have membranes that protect all these tissues, all these ducts. They have mucous membranes. Critical. It's sequestration. Now, what else happens here? It's secreting of glucose in the liver. Secreting of bicarbonates, epithelial cells in the endocrine pancreas. It's all secretions of these toxic chemicals. And stage 1 cancer, there's just not quite enough mucus there, and the membranes are being attacked. Stage 2, it gets worse. Stage 3, nobody's doing anything about it. Now, how can you do anything about it? Let's determine why. Let's first of all determine why it's possible you don't have the correct mucus and the correct membranes to protect these things. There's a process that they're created and tended to and replaced and nurtured. They don't just lay there forever and do it. It has to be tended to. You have to deliver the products, and the products have to get to the correct places. And you have to be able to pick up the garbage. So let's go talk about all this stuff. Okay, if you're squeamish, Got graphic content coming up. 3, 2, 1, graphic content. All right, here we go. Now, this is bone cancer. Now, this demonstrates in graphic detail what I'm speaking of. This right here is mineralization. That is mineralization. That is crystallization. That is molecules growing from a seed source that cannot be removed. Now, why is it growing from that seed source? Something is saturating the fluids and they are attaching here, just like they do in the when they make those rock candy, where they saturate the fluids and then they grow into crystals. Same thing as this type of thing. I mean, this is just horrendous. Now, how would this happen? They might have nicked one of these bone bits somewhere at some point in time, scratched it or something, and then it started to mineralize, and nothing was able to stop it from doing that. Now, is it the body's job to stop it, or is it the products that are in your blood the reason that it is not being stopped? I say that it's the products that are in your blood have to deal with that. You may have hormones and glands and DNA and all that stuff. Yes, absolutely. However, they are doing a job to create products to deal with these kind of things, and there are certain conditions that must be met for them to have these products and have these enzymes and have these things to create these barriers to separate things. And I believe almost all of these issues that people are having, aches and pains and all kinds of cancers and things, are related to a buildup of crystals, possibly, that are attacking the very, very fine synovial seeds and ripping through them and then allowing chemistry to do its job. It's supposed to say separated. Now, this is adding chemistry and it can't be taken away. In my opinion, this is the attack represented from the synovial sheath, or whatever you want to call it, the fascia, the interstitium, the layer that protects bones from salts. Your body's filled with salts. There's supposed to be a membrane that protects your bones, and I believe that membrane has been attacked and dissolved, and now the salts are working on the bones, because that's exactly what will happen. That's my thoughts. Now, I could be totally wrong, but I think it should be looked at. People say, oh, you said he could be wrong. Well, of course I could be wrong, you idiots. You were the ones that say, oh, I have to be right. No, don't look at this guy, he's an idiot. No. No, not at all. There's been nothing but failure in this for years and years and years, and they just try to treat genes and something like that and give you a bunch of drugs. Your body can deal with this, but you need bacteria in your body that we've been killing with antibiotics, and it's a well-known, fully understood that the people that have a lot of problems, have a lot of digestive issues, the people that have Alzheimer's, well, they have all kinds of diseases, and even autism. These kids have 40% on norm, I believe, less bacteria in their body, which means that they are not able to create the enzymes, which means that, because the bacteria create the enzymes, and this is a fact. That's not even a question. You go to any waste treatment plant and you ask the guy, how's the waste treatment going today? He says, oh yeah, all the bacteria are doing their job. Everything's working. That's what they do. The bacteria, they throw it in, it eats up all the little things, because they make enzymes. They know what to do. They know what they should know that for your body. They don't know this. They don't know. Well, I mean, they might know it, but they're not working with it. Because the first thing that should have happened for Alex should have been, let's take a blood sample. Let's find out what's in your blood, the transitions, every single one of them, and the quantities. Let's find out what enzymes are in your body, every single one of them, and the quantities. Let's find what bacteria is in your fecal system, every single one of them, and the quantities. And then we'll put it in a database. We'll see what everybody else has, and sooner or later there will become a norm that says everybody has pancreatic cancer, seems to exhibit these particular symptoms. They have too much sulfur, they have not enough calcium, calcium, they have a little extra of this and none of that, and all their bacteria, bacillus is almost dead, and they have 3 times as much of peripheral, and you know, whatever it is. And this is what's going to be, this will play out. This is an absolute requirement, and it is being overlooked. They think you only have a couple of different transition metals. Let me show you something. I maybe showed you already, but let me show you again because it's absolutely critical. All of those are transition metals, all these blue ones. And every one of those has a job to do in your body. They're not there for accidental, or they're just clanking around. They're absolutely not. Those are the drivers and movers of everything that's in your body. And now I will prove that. Alright, these are fabulous colors, and these fabulous colors are the product of transition metals. And the reason they make these colors is because they don't have complete, full electron orbitals in the d orbital. Well, just put it this way. They have a place in their structure that will just lightly tiny hold onto an electron, just with the most gentle embrace. And then if the pH changes, it will drop it off because somebody else will want it more. And they just very gently carry things around, these metals. And that's what's called a metal complex. And it will grab a hold of all kinds of molecules. And there is about 100, metal complexes in your body. They are all from these transition elements. You see this? You should look up transition metal ion colors. And they have all these abilities to change oxidation states. You see this here? All these blue ones, all those blue ones. You need every one of those in your body. They think they just accidentally bopping around in your body. No, that is the way things in your body get picked up and delivered. So I'm going to show you some more, and then you will see why I am making these statements and why I can make these statements. I'm not just guessing. I'm showing you evidence. So I'd like to see somebody confront it, and I want to see if it can help somebody, and I'm specifically you, Alex. All right, obviously time is of the essence at this point. All right, and I love you, brother. I want to do what I can. All right, thank you. All right, there's a heart. You still say, well, big deal. That's a heart. Well, how can you prove anything about that? You showed me a bunch of colors. You showed me a heart. What's the story? Well, here's the story. That's the story right there. You see all those colors? They're not there for no reason. That is specific colors because it needed a specific transition metal to do its specific job. And that's the same thing, and all these different colors. And now why is all these little speckles in this blood? You know your heart's full of blood. Why are all these different colors here? Those are the transition metals that I spoke about that are in here, that are just floating and drifting through your body, carrying things around. They're the UPS drivers, the FedEx, whoever you deliver and pick up one, maybe there's a whole bunch of all of them. And there's almost 100 of these transition metal blue ones. They're not there accidentally. They don't even think they're there for any reason. This is what kills me. Those are the things that make you healthy. If they're not there, if that green one isn't there, you don't have any calcium, let's say. Or if the pink one isn't there, you don't have any some other thing that delivers something to your toenails. You are so specific to chemistry, and you have no idea. And they have no idea. They think everything's related to something in your genetics. Well, I can't say it's not. I know they can fix genes. I know I'm not saying that's not true. I'm just saying that that's not everybody. There's a few people have that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going along with that. And there is genetic traits, absolutely. But there's also family traits that mean that they eat the same kind of foods, they live in the same kind of environment, they drink the same kind of water, and they have the same kind of issues. So it's time to take a little bit, don't destroy research. Don't fight everything. Look into it, for goodness sakes, my friends. All right, Alex, I'm hoping for you, my friend. You need to look into this for everyone. You are the only one I know that has a voice that is, hopefully will stand up and talk, because nobody else can that's in the business, because they will be destroyed. That is the way it works. All right? Okay, here's my contention that we could fix health with just basic stuff. Good food, Don't get a lot of nasty stuff in your body that your body has to deal with. Good bacteria in your gut. Don't take a lot of antibiotics. It kills them. You have over 1,000 bacteria. Most people don't have enough. Good enzymes. They will create good enzymes. If you have good food, you have good bacteria, you will end up with good enzymes in your body. Good enzymes mean you'll end up with chemistry in your body that are catalysts. What are catalysts? Catalysts do a job that is refining the products that you took in as a good food, and they will pick up and deliver. They will make all those products pick up and deliverable. In other words, they have to be ground up into the little bitty pieces. And then that's what these catalysts do. And then the enzymes harvest these metals and salts in your body, and they concentrate them where they're needed to do certain jobs, in tendons and bones and your eyeballs and your toenails. They all, every very unbelievable number of types of collagens and keragens and keratins and all these different things that are in your body. They're different building blocks of fabrics and tissues and so forth that you can make, so you can separate all this chemistry apart, because you have to. So they do all these jobs. Now, the fabrics and the mucus, and they protect the tissues from decay. Once, because you're pouring all these things through these ducts, flowing in toxic chemicals and pulling out, salts and all kinds of things. And they have to be away from everything else. It's absolutely required. And that I don't think they fully understand. And I think by finding out what the database I'm talking about will fix health, I'm almost absolutely certain. It will aid to health. Let me put it that way. I don't know if it's going to fix health for sure, but it's going to aid to it. We're going to find out what deficiencies or overages in the body create these conditions. What causes the salts not to be picked up and causes them to start scrubbing away at the membranes, and then that causes irritation. It causes rheumatoid arthritis. You get scarring of your sheathing of your bones and so forth, because they're scrubbing against them with acids and salts or whatever they are. And they're eating through these membranes, and then you get swelling, you get infestation, all kinds of problems. And it's all started because of mucous membranes. I mean, a slime is where we want to be. You want to be as slimy as you can be inside. And that requires bacteria. I mean, it sounds kind of disgusting, but I'm telling you, this is health. Alex, I want you to be healthy, my friend. I'd love to see something work out for you, buddy. So all I can say is, please, for everyone's benefit, you have a voice, and this is not being considered, and this is the problem with our health system. They're trying to do things in the most, the top of the line manner, because I don't know, I always talk about money. I'm not going to say that's the story, but let's go with this, and then we'll see if we can get people kind of healthy. There's too much money involved anyway right now. People can't even afford to get healthy. You're in a position where, I'm sure they're taking well care of you, and that's fine. And everybody else should be in that same position too. And I don't think we all need to be taken care of in the manner that we're being taken care of now. I think you will never even get near to the condition you're in right now if you had the ability to go to the doctor and say, okay, I'm here for my every 2 or 5 year health checkup to do all my chemistry. Tell me what's in me. So, oh man, you got a problem. So what's the matter? You got too much sulfur in it. So what does that do? It eats a hole in your pancreas. So let's work with that sulfur. And he said, well, what causes that? And he said, well, you got no enzymes. The enzymes are supposed to go in there and deal with that. And he said, well, I don't have enzymes. He said, well, guess what? You don't have any good bacteria in there. He said, why is that? He said, well, I gave you some antibiotics. It killed all your bacteria. We never fixed it back up again. I'm telling you. Think about it. All right, Mucosal University. I love everybody. Goodbye. I'm just going to give you a real quick biology lesson to show you, so you can exactly see with your own eyes how delicate these sheaths and this particular biology is, and how durable it is, and how much it depends on the chemistry that I just discussed. All right, here goes. Biology lesson. This is a lung that was DNA certified It's not something that's, we took it out of inside with a pin drill you take out from the red blood supply area and get the DNA out of there, and we had it processed, and it's human DNA. That's from the lung, and that's the tissue that coats the lung. Now this was a bonehead that no, it wasn't DNA tested, but that's the bone. The only part that's left is that little white spot. That's the last bit of bone. This transitions, and this is the fabric that coats the bone. And you can see that triangle looking piece there. It's wrapped around there virtually like a fabric. And I find them on all of the mud fossils, that are in this condition. Some of them erode more than others. This is a whole different variety of things. But they do wrap that stuff, and it was called tunica by the ancient Greeks. Now, I mentioned that there was colors inside the transition metals. Here they are. You see those colors? That's inside a very small lung, and you see all those little crevices in there. That's where the blood passed through between those. At one time they were little holes in the lung. They were little pockets where the blood passed around the pocket, and the gases and the air passed through the pocket, and those gases they turned into gas from the blood. It's called carbonic acids, and they turn into carbonic gases, and you blow them out through your lungs. That's why they have all these different colored metals. And those metals are the transition metals, and they do the job of moving things through your body and changing things. Now I want to show you how elegant the body is. This is called Strolling Under the Skin. It's by Ukiyo Ortho. And this is Dr. Jean-Claude Gumberto. And excellent. I've watched this many times. And I've sat through many autopsies by Gil Headley, who I worked with to certify all my mud fossils. Now I want to show you how delicate this system is and how little they did know about it, and they're starting to understand it. But here it goes.
The notion of the retrograde flap, and we began to develop a technique for transferring vascularized retrograde tendon flexor transfers onto the cubital pedicle to get round the problem of reconstructing flexor tendons. Little by little, this new vision of anatomy began to throw light on the relationships between the tendons, the sliding sheaths, and the vessels, and to challenge the very foundations of the classical school of thought. During the revascularization following the release of agarate, we observed that not only the tendinous extremities bled with an apparently circular longitudinal and peripheral vascularization, in contradiction with the avascular theory that held sway at that time, but that there seemed to be a real continuity between the sheaths and the tendons, which was not interrupted despite the distension occurring during sliding.
All right, what I want you to point out, what I want to point out is that there was very little understanding about this. This kind of stuff, they used to call it fuzz, fascia. They thought it was nothing. It was just packing material, this fluffy stuff. It's one of the most important things in your body now, they realize. And this only goes back when I first started my research. I was trying, because I found this right here. This is fascia. Right? And I wrote a paper called Fascia Facilitated Fossilization because I thought that was the process that protected them, but it's not. That's a whole other story. But at any rate, I'm saying this is brand new research, so don't think this was something they know everything about. No, there's nothing to be known here. That's why she's saying that they just discovered this. Now look at how delicate this is, and think if you had crystals and minerals and things in your blood that couldn't get out of there or couldn't be delivered, and this is what needed to be done. Look at how absolutely elegant this is.
It was also clear from observing the behavior of the vessels of the common carpal sheath during flexion and extension that rather simplistic mechanistic explanations could no longer account for these phenomena, and that this apparent disorder and irregularity of shapes was in fact the basis of some other form of complexity that we still knew hardly anything about.
I think if there was crystals or sand in there.
We began detailed in vivo microscopic analysis of the distribution and mobility of the vessels using 25-fold video magnification. By looking at a vessel as a petrol pump, we were able to approach the problem more simply. There was this vertical structure looking like the main part of the pump, then the pipe, and finally the adjoining vessel, just like a car filling up at the gas station. The pipe seemed to move.
All right, I'm sorry. I get carried away. I could watch this all day long. Absolutely fabulous research. What I want you to take away from this is, look at these little blood vessels. And this sliding sheath over these tendinous straps. These run across your knuckles and your wrists and all of the things where people have problems, and they pull and stretch. These are your tendons. If you don't have fluid, extreme fluidity, and gooey, slimy fluid, it's called synovial fluid. It's a thin, slippery, slimy slime that everything moves in, and if it doesn't, it's going to be painful. Not only will it be painful in the fact that it'll be scratchy, it'll be painful in the fact that these have to move amongst themselves. It's not just this has to slide there. Every single fiber in your body has to be flexible and be able to twist and move, which means they have to be able to do this kind of thing. These are the problems with people are having with these rheumatoid arthritis and all that, and that's why castor oil helps, because you put it right on where you have that pain. It's going to go in there and add moisture into that area, and it absolutely helps for the symptoms. Now, what happens in arthritis and all the other things is these scratchy little areas tear into the sheaths. They scar. They swell. They go all kind of, you get all kind of crazy stuff with these arthritis. But anyway, my point is all of these things are protective things. These are the things, the mucus, the slime, these leucine-rich proteins, I think they call them. I could be wrong, but I think that's what they call the things that are slippery and slimy. Kaolin clays. They call them slip clays. Those are in your body. That's what this stuff is, the kaolin clays. They're kaolin clays in your skin, in your fine skin. It's like a plastic clay. It allows for flexibility. You need these things. People actually eat clay, you know. And women crave it when they're pregnant because they need the minerals that are in there. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. But Alex, I'd love to see something happen good for you, my friend. And I think that they need to understand that you need some protective layering inside your body, that you're being attacked by the chemistry that does the job to keep you alive, but you need to keep it separated from the other chemistry. That's my point. That's my thinking. And I'd love to talk to you, Alex. I really would. I'm reaching out to you, my friend. All right, thank you.